3 minutes after 7 on this Carnival Thursday, and I'm joined by Johanse Ayodike, behavioral change specialist, to again lead us with interesting and thought-provoking conversation. And we beg the question this morning, we beg to ask the question. Well, a matter of fact, it's not even a question, it's more or less a statement, really. He says this morning you could either lose or find yourself during Carnival, and I embrace that statement. It's so true, and let's, of course, we let Johanse elaborate on this very interesting perspective on this Carnival Thursday. Remember, we need Sosa, and in the next couple of days, you could either find yourself or lose yourself.
Correct.
I hope I could find myself. I want to find myself. I don't want to lose myself. I don't want to be lost in the bacchanal, Johanse. I can't be lost. I never was. I don't plan to be, honestly.
Morning to everyone viewing. Now, you say you want to be lost in the bacchanal. It's not only bacchanal people is do for Carnival, right? Carnival is a time of, I would say, is the place and the atmosphere becomes peculiar because if you're in the bacchanal, right, that's something that don't occur during the year. If you're not, you might go to camp. That is not something you normally do either. You have about 4 days home, let me say. That's not something that usually occurs either. So we have a unique time where things change. And in the midst of change, we could either find ourselves or lose ourselves.
I would say, according to what aspect of the Carnival, so as you rightfully said, there are those who go far removed from it. Camp, they go a different direction. Because you could go to Piaco and the airport will be packed up. People leaving, going to Tobago, they're trying to move away from the excitement. There are those who dive headfirst into the pan. There are those who dive headfirst into Juve, that's their thing. They like the pretty mass, who like the Monday and Tuesday. Some people just fet, all-inclusives, that's their thing. How could we, let's deal with finding yourself. What kind of self-discovery can one capture during Carnival?
One, you have the opportunity, like we say, if you're in the festivities, you have the opportunity to express yourself the way you want to. You have the opportunity to get out some suppressed emotions, suppressed feelings, right? And in that process, you could find yourself. Also, knowing and understanding that sometimes you may want to do too much. You could end up losing yourself. That's like say if you're in the bacchanal. We go in now, let's say, have some time home. You could sit and you could reflect and find yourself. But you could also lose yourself because you could sit and watch Netflix whole weekend. You could sit and dissociate and just kind of just be there, escaping and not doing the work to find yourself. You could go camp or Tobago and away from things and you're spending time with the family, but you could either find yourself as in you create a new bond, or you go there and then now you don't know how to deal with family. You don't know how to deal with being away from the norm.
Is losing yourself or the whole concept of, losing yourself really, could we compare that or pair that with Lego yourself? Is that more or less the same thing? We say in local parlance, I want to Lego myself, I want to Lego. Is that also losing yourself?
Nah, I would say no, letting go yourself, because in letting go, you could find yourself, because it is double-edged. Letting go, you could find yourself because before you was close and you wasn't being yourself. Also, letting go, you could actually lose yourself, because if you release who you innately are, right, then you'd end up losing yourself. And I'm putting it that way because really it's a mind shift. It's something you're being aware of, because sometimes people just kind of let Carnival take them, let the Carnival period take them. Again, I'm not speaking about the festivities specifically, but they let the Carnival period just take them. At home, are doing nothing, you're just there, and then the 4 days pass and you realize, wait, now I didn't even do anything. And it's almost like the 4 days didn't make a difference. So being cognizant, being mindful of this unique time, even those working, let's say in the protective forces, etc., they're working as a unique time because there's more people, maybe it's more shifts you're taking up, etc. You could be mindful because you could lose yourself in that process to a work, or you could find yourself.
Is there a sweet spot, you want to say? A nice little balance in between?
It's a sweet spot, boy. Being aware.
Because and I'm glad you touched on that, because there are those who lose themselves and find themselves, but sometimes there is assistance from, let's say, the SIPs, or a man might on the road take a pull and some people, they self-medicate then, they need something to give them that booster to really enjoy it. And then there are those who could just be higher for the music. The music is what might be the driving force. The pan, I've seen people go into a trance, pan playing, and you just, you lose yourself in a good way. In the pan, I played bass in school panorama and once with Starlife on the rhythm section, and I remember I climbed up on the bass, and I can't remember how I end up on the bass, I had such a time. I lost myself. In a good way, though.
No, and that's important, because sometimes when you have assistance and you're using the SIPs and the other substances, that's different, because you may not be in control of what happened versus you in your own euphoria. You're so happy. You are more in control of that.
Yes, and that's the awareness. It's almost like is you're conscious of what's happening because you are coherent.
Yes.
And you're going through a genuine moment where you've been able to really feel a certain energy from either the music or the mass or whatever aspect of the creative elements that could bring that to you.
Correct.
So what you advise the nation, obviously we're going into the greatest show. We in the Source, it's Carnival Thursday. What if you have to talk to someone was to ask you for advice going into the season, how will tell them to approach it?
Take this unique time to be aware of what you really want to do. Because even if you're not in the festivities and you're taking time to yourself or taking time with your family, sometimes you could end up understanding exactly, this is what I like, and I like this time away. I like this time with my family. I like this quiet period. Or you might realize, I like these festivities. I like the pace. Be cognizant of what's going on, because there's life after the carnival period. Don't do something or not do something that you would end up regretting.
True. What you say to those who funds might be low, they can't play mass, they're not really going to partake, they won't be on the road, and they just feel depressed about it. They feel like, well, you know what, money a bit tight, different things happening, probably are now coming to a kind of investment with a home, have to pay for a car, whatever the situation is. The money that playing it how it used to, and you have to take a side step, and you feel a bit sad and depressed because of that.
One, I will start with the classic, at least you're alive. Let me start with that. And you have 4 days, let me say, to sit and plan. You could plan for next carnival. You could plan in terms of your financial situation. You could sit. Either way, have an opportunity, whether you're in it or you're outside of it, you have this opportunity to take to make your life better, to find yourself. So even if you're in a financial strait, you really want to be on the road, you could decide, you know what, I'm not on the road, they say I can't afford it, but let me sit and make a plan for next year, for the following years, etc.
Because there are people who, they literally don't partake, they don't even want to come in town, they don't want to see people in costume. They sometimes feel a bit angry, actually, seeing folks enjoy themselves and knowing that, well, probably I was in the mix last year, not there this time around, and some people literally tell you they don't want to come to town, they stay home. They don't even want to look at it on the TV. That's how extreme some people go into that kind of, I won't say darkness per se, but it's a kind of almost like a slight depression almost.
Even in that darkness, you could find yourself, Because if you're angry, you played, as using your example, you played last year and you're not able to do this year and you just don't want to see anything. Even in that anger, you know what? You could use that anger. We use it in Trinidad as that bad mind. That bad mind anger to get what it done. So wait, now I need $5,000 and I didn't have it this year. You know what? I could put aside, because next year it might be a little more. So you make a plan to put aside the $6,000 or the $6,500. But either way, use the energy, whatever energy this carnival period brings for you. Use that energy to find yourself. So it could be anger, it could be sadness, and I'm not using any emotion as negative, but versus feel what you're feeling and find yourself instead of losing yourself in it.
What advice you'll say to the actual creatives, those who actually curate the carnival, they create the memory, they are the key players, and during this time of the year, because the focus and the light is on them, there is all this fanfare and pandemonium, and Trinidad is a very interesting place because come Ash Wednesday, come next week, Thursday, literally 7 days from now, many would just sometimes turn their back on the set creatives. They would be, all of a sudden, they become human again. So from now till next Tuesday at midnight, you're almost like superhuman. You're a star. People, you know, they're singing your praises and literally right as the clock strikes 12 and we go back to that place of normalcy, come Ash Wednesday and beyond. People treat them like, hey, well, okay, until next year. And there are many I've seen because I'm also in that kind of space and I've been through it. I've seen, well, I understand the space, so I don't let it get to me, but I've seen people really, that transition, that quick, sharp turn leaves some people a bit unsettled. What advice you'll have to tell them this morning?
I like that question because the few fets I went, I was looking at the artists and looking at them as human. And there's a lot going on, you know. I would say soak everything in first because we don't know what's happening tomorrow, you know. You know, they saying the present is here, the present is real. The past already gone, the future ain't come yet. Soak everything in, embrace it, understand it, enjoy it. But also face the reality of where we live in Trinidad, that what happens on Ash Wednesday. And then think long term, you know, if Carnival not going on here anymore, you know, have carnivals in different parts of the world. So look forward and plan to even be parts of those festivities.
Yeah, because it's one of those scenarios that, you know, it's Carnival is really a renewal. It's a chance. I think Super Blue, I must say, you know, having conversations with him over the years, he said something to me once and it really stood out. It was able to resonate. And up to this day, I always remember his words. He says, Carnival is a chance every year for someone new to get that opportunity to be crowned king and queen in all aspects, whether it's the chutney monarch side of it, whether it's the junior. Look the juniors, look some youngsters, king and queen. This is the year. Next year, you might have some new players on the scene. So whether it's the mass, the pan, the soca, the calypso, he says it's a kind of renewal. And I wonder sometimes with that renewal, you know, the old making way for the new, or the new king or the new queen making way, well, making their own space compared to who would have been there last year. How people really treat and deal with that kind of transition, because it's a kind of shifter for many. Yeah,
True.
Yeah,
and it is the flow of life, you know. I mean, sometimes we know that change is inevitable, but sometimes we still want things to always be the same, and that's erroneous.
I'll give you a chance to send your Carnival greeting and Carnival, you know, blessing really to the nation, you want to say. You have the final say.
Trinidad and Tobago, and even those who visit it, Carnival is a unique time where you could find or lose yourself. Don't make life complicated. Stay alert, because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening. Yohanse
IODK, behavioral change specialist, mental health, of course, important. Carnival, beyond, and that's why we have, I would say, these real-time and truly heartfelt conversations every single Thursday. You want to say thanks a lot and happy Carnival to you, man.
Thanks, man. Same to you.
I think I'll try to find that sweet spot. I've always done that. You know, you just find that nice middle ground and you just enjoy it. So let's go with that kind of energy into Carnival 2024. We'll take a pause and we come back. We got a Valentine's Day. A little something coming up with some little baking things you could do at home. Look out for that, and we should have another interesting conversation before our 7:30 wrap-up time. Of course, morning shot, 7:30 to 8. Sports later on with, of course, Ian Wayson. That's right. See you soon. I'm feeling come down, like rain on my face. I feel it in my soul, like heaven come.